Chapter 3. Panic. Vacant train tracks and empty parking lots, bits of trash blowing up against the Philly cheesesteak restaurant, the closed signs in the Starbucks window, the abandoned wheelchair next to the fort of blue tarps where the homeless man lived. These were scenes from the sci-fi thriller they were now living in. Richard watched them in widescreen, as if through a viewfinder. He always looked at the world this way, composing shots while walking, driving, sitting, marking the four walls of the frame, noting the quality and angle of the light, the play of the shadows, the foreground and background. He'd had this habit since he was a teenager and became obsessed with films, going to see anything and everything that came out. The B-movies, the bland movies, the mediocre and the masterpieces, willing to search for something redeemable in even the most forgettable drive-in dreck. His eyes were a movie camera before he held his first camcorder in college. Maybe he could construct a montage out of these images, the high school reader board already announcing the postponement of classes, the Wendy's and the Burger King with orange cones blocking the drive-through lanes, the locked doors of Lowe's Hardware, wide shots dense with omens of calamity, long shots haunted with dystopian intent. He could set them to a soundtrack of plangent strings or a Gregorian choir. He had just started to reread The Plague, and he wondered if it would work to narrate passages written by Camus' enigmatic narrator and lay the audio over the images. Trite? Maybe. Or maybe the resulting film could be bracing in its simplicity. Finally, he would be discovered. This would be the pass he could flash to the gatekeepers who'd always brushed him off. This would be his entree into the rarefied pantheon of celebrated documentary filmmakers, that ever-tightening clique of trust fund socialites and Netflixed insiders. He'd be accepted into Sundance and invited to Cannes. Critics would swoon 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, the Oscar for documentary short. Yes, this was a good idea, he thought. This might work. The concept excited him, and he arrived at the playground ready to go to work. He pulled out his phone, changed the video setting to 4K, and set it to super slow motion, which rendered time to a near standstill, producing images that flowed like a thick syrup. There were the toddler swings bound together, an acute image loaded with meaning, the end of play, throttled dreams, parents in a knot of frustration. He remembered the chore of filling the daytime hours when his own kids were little. Even on good days, when they were engaged and happy, it could be a challenge. Now, without the distractions of outings and playdates and preschool, this task would be Promethean. He framed the shot and began rolling, briefly mesmerized by the metaphorical weight of the image, the slight sway of the swings in the breeze, imagining the quotes from Camus, the immense sadness of it all, and then an acidic burst in his gut, a clutch of panic as though he were in a roller coaster descending through a hole in the earth. It was a type of seizure, involuntary and abstract. A thought flashed through his mind. He didn't know what to make of it at first, but then a chill came over him, and he could feel a presence. He reached out a hand to touch it, but it was invisible, out of the frame. He lowered his camera. The bottom immediately dropped out of his enthusiasm. The idea of making a film from these pictures and using prose from Camus in voiceover was stupid. So stupid, embarrassingly stupid. The utter banality of it. Everyone will be doing this. Everyone with a smartphone throughout the entire world, which was everyone, will be documenting the symbolic grandeur of the emptied world, the tragic beauty of it all. The images will arrive as already tiresome, flipbooks of visual cliches, the yellow tape rattling in the wind. Oh God, what shit.